Well, hello, beautiful people. How are we doing today? We're back at it once again. We are on the book Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn. And this is chapter 9. And we are into part 45, which has been a heavy chapter because it's been all about relationships. So there's been some very eye-opening things as far as us not being able to just play the victim and blame other people when relationships break down. And if we do need to break up relationships or get better with relationships, coming from an understanding of how we are the ones creating the things with us, because it all starts with us. We create our own reality. So we are going to continue in this controversial, let's just say, portion, but I hope you guys are enjoying it. This is going to be for the chain of pain. Um, and and I think I mentioned this very early on too. Um, I wish that I could play the. Well, I mean, I can, but it's just the lady who's doing this job. She's doing an amazing job when it comes to reading the audio. But the original author has so much character, and maybe I'll do like a bloopers or something, and for you guys to hear her voice because she's so animated. Unfortunately, this one isn't, but yeah, it just makes the book that much more exciting to read. So, but it is a lot of information left out, and that's why I'm doing it this way. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Here we go.
Chain of Pain. I had a longtime friend who would call every other month or so from several states away and dump all of her rather robust problems on me. Most of this was before I knew about getting sucked into and pulled down with someone else's negative vibration.
Hmm.
This routine went on for years, an unending diatribe of the same old problems, growing bigger and bigger as time went on. At each phone call, I'd jump right in to join her in her negative feelings, thinking I was being so helpful. I'd empathize, commiserate, sympathize, until I'd feel so bad. I'd have to go outside for a walkabout in nature to get my balance back after hanging up. Without knowing it, not only was I fanning her negativity, but I was wrapping it tightly around me. It was awful, and I didn't know how to stop it, short of telling her not to call anymore, which I didn't have the heart to do. To make matters worse, even when I wasn't talking to her on the phone, I'd be envisioning her in her messes, surrounded by lack, a walking time bomb waiting to explode into another tangled predicament. When I finally got the picture of what I was doing vibrationally to both of us, I started sending different kinds of thoughts to her, seeing her in abundance, happiness, gaiety, etc. Though frankly, it wasn't easy. But she didn't want out of her misery, and she surely didn't want anything to do with my paint and brushes. Finally, one day she called and read me the riot act for not going along with her thinking, calling me callous, heartless, self-centered, and a few more colorful jewels I won't bother to repeat. In a manner of speaking, she was probably right, since I was no longer willing to join in her chain of pain. I had to let her sink, or I'd go down with her again, something I was no longer willing to do. I've never heard from her since, but continue to see her in the best script I can muster. Perhaps one day, try as we will, fix-it kits don't work. When we decide someone needs fixing, as I was doing with my friend, all we're doing is viewing them as wrong, flooding them with negative energy. Instead, if we can find something, anything, to appreciate about them and plant the seeds of potential new growth about them with our positive vibrations, we open up a chance for change. If you want to help someone out of their immediate suffering, sending a simple, "it's going to be all right," will usually quiet them down and give them an opportunity for a moment of feel good. As Pollyannish as that might sound, it's a soother for them and a respite for you. Now they're in a place to accept your paint and brushes, or not. If they choose not, so be it. But joining them, even in heartfelt compassion, will only compound the misery by magnifying the negative vibrations, theirs and yours. Every person on this planet has the guidance within to find their own way, if they so choose. But sometimes we have to let them sink if that's their choice, or we'll go down too, connected vibrationally in the chain of pain. Families and harmony. If someone in your family is driving you nuts, not only is your focus making it worse, it's affecting every other area of your life. A closed valve over a problem youngster is a closed valve to all of life. A closed valve over a mate is a closed valve to life. So how can we get people under one roof, going in somewhat the same direction, even if on different tracks? Here's what a close friend did with remarkable success. Without going into details, the teenage son was acting as the catalyst for everybody's ugly feelings. The whole family was being painfully torn apart with his drug-related antics. As Peg, his mother, and my friend started getting more and more into the law of attraction, she decided to see if everybody could amalgamate their individual intents into a more focused direction, rather than spraying them all over the place. They all had a hard time at first, because everybody was keeping their don't want focus on the sun, rather than on their own valve. Nonetheless, they started having family meetings to voice their wants. As might be expected, the first few go-rounds emerged as long lists of don't wants from everyone, particularly from the sun. But after a while, quite a while, everybody was stating their positive wants openly and enthusiastically. The next step was to get into the whys, home run. As soon as they did that, the true colors of desire began to fly. All anybody wanted was to feel better than they were currently feeling. So that became their joint intent. From there, miracles began to pop. For the first time ever, they all truly wanted to be together, to do things together, go places together. They wanted to feel like a family. It was working. Although the son's grades didn't exactly fly off the card, he turned around enough to stay in school, while both Mom and Pop stayed pretty much off his back. And since both Mom and Pop were determined to keep their own valves open and see their son as a spirited, happy young man, they vibrationally merged with the son's underlying intent, so that the drugs eventually vanished without intervention. Peg and her family didn't sail off into the sunset, not by a long shot. They continued getting caught up in the old habits of needing conditions to change before they could be happy. But they were a committed lot and kept their weekly family get-togethers to restate their intents and wants. Whenever circumstances got rough again with any one member, the others found they could maintain their own connectedness enough to help both themselves and the other guy until all were reconnected again to their source energy and back on their own open valve tracks. No matter what, no matter what. Like everything else, when we stop getting lost in the conditions and start dealing with our own valve, life takes on a new glow. If we would look for ways to appreciate and praise, rather than to criticize and blame, we can be the essential catalyst that helps tip the scales up to positive attracting for everybody, including ourselves. Keep a watchful eye out for valve closing statements I love you, but, or why don't you ever look instead for valve opening statements such as, I don't know how it's going to turn out for you, but I know it's going to be fine. I never worry about you. I never worry about us because I know whatever is in store will be good. If ever there was a time and place to work on positive aspects, family is it. And there's another plus to appreciating family folk. Once your valve is swinging open, it's swinging open to everything, not just family. You can be appreciating your mate of present or past, and your new job will happen. You can be a single parent appreciating your children, and your new mate will happen. You can be appreciating your home, and your problem kids will turn around. It's all energy. It's all vibration stemming from how you're feeling. So write your new script. Don't worry about the whens or hows. Give up noticing it hasn't happened yet. Get your eyes off the other guy's valve and find ways to open yours. Before you know it, it won't matter what anyone else in your house or on the planet is doing, because you are no longer a responder. You are now an aware creator. Just open your own valve no matter what. No matter what. No matter what. The rest will take care of itself. Another guarantee.
Love it, love it, love it, you guys. Oh my
Chapter-
goodness. Let's go ahead and stop here. Get back. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys are loving this like I am. So much good information here. And, one of the things that I want to reassure people, and even, it's even something that I've had to remind myself over the years. This isn't something you're going to have to do for the rest of your life, right? But keeping your valve open and making that your default and just learning to appreciate things and taking your mind off of what is, but thinking more about the perfect end result and seeing things in a positive light and not focusing on other people's problems and pushing energy and closing valve to that, but opening the valve to appreciation for yourself and the things that you do have. That's not something you're going to have to do forever. Once you get into the default of doing these things on a daily basis all the time, then it just becomes automatic, right? Because you're just training your brain. So that's to give you guys peace of mind. This is not something, because I know sometimes even for me, I think like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. Like it's so much all the time. No, it's okay. It's going to get better. It's just you're now seeing, especially if you're noticing and it feels like it's happening more, you're again being aware, which is part of the change. And so you're seeing the negativity that is occurring onto you all the time. And so now you're just wanting to start to change it. And in order to change it, you got to see it first. But once you start to do it, then it becomes the default and then it becomes automatic and then everything kind of flips. So I hope that helps you guys quite a bit. This was a great chapter, another great part. Pass this on to somebody, if they think that could benefit from this, because I think there's a lot of great information in these last couple of parts in this particular chapter. And then we're going to be moving on to chapter 10. You guys comment down below what you guys think of this particular chapter. And if you haven't already, make sure that you hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and make sure you hit take all notifications, so then that way you don't miss any of this great content that I'm going to be posting every day. And until next time, you guys make it a great day. Take care.